Hi everyone, how you doing? Some early birds, that's nice. So while we're waiting for other people to join, why not say hello in the chat box to everybody else, unless you want to come on. Hi Stephen, unless you want to turn your camera on or your mic and have a chat, that's fine. And also, obviously I have content that I'm covering today, but while we're going to go through today, if there's anything that you think of that you would like covering in future sessions, then please, again, put it in the chat box so that I can pick it up afterwards and fold it into future sessions. But for now, let's think positive. So what's been the best thing that's happened recently? Personally or business-wise, what's been the best thing that's happened? That's great. Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm just going to put my little chat box up on my other screen. So if you see me looking the other way, that's because I'm just checking the chat box. Hi, everybody. Hi, Rebecca. Nice to see your face. See a brave one put a camera on and said hello to me. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
So what's the best thing that's happened to you in the last 2 weeks?
2 days off.
Yay. Always good to have a break. What did you do with that time?
I just piddled around with the kids, actually. I didn't really do anything or go anywhere, but it was just very nice.
Yes, I've been taking like the odd afternoon off and just pootling in the garden and just doing like bits and pieces. It's just been really nice.
I know, just kind of just having a break and a rest has been lovely, actually.
I think we need to go often. Brian's he's had a great meeting with a new client yesterday showing QuickBooks and she's delighted. Well done, Brian. Well done. Hi, Beth. Oh, well done. Beth worked on Time's Up. I'm looking forward to using it on existing clients. Oh, we're going to talk about that in a minute. That's great. Got so many things to cover today. I always think, oh, what am I going to talk about? And then I come up with so many ideas. And as soon as I look in System Builder, I was like, oh, sure, I haven't talked about that for a while. Okay. So anybody else want to join in? What's been the best thing that's happened in the last 2 weeks? Camera on or off, it doesn't really matter. Hi, Keith. I see you back on. Okay. We're being a bit quiet. Maybe they're eating their lunch, Rebecca. Maybe that's why they're not on camera. Oh, Philip got a week in Cornwall. I've come back to 5 new clients. Woohoo! How great is that? Is that your team have got that going for you? Or were they prospects you met before you went on holiday? Team, no team, just me. Oh, sorry, it's true, Phil. So Phil managed to organize that. So when you came back, you got 5 new clients. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay. Right, well, I think we just got a couple of people still coming in. But I'm going to start because I've got quite a lot to cover today. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you too. Okay. So, yeah, well done, Phil. Everybody's saying that. Well done, great stuff. Okay, so it's been coming up lately, and I thought we probably need to address it really. This fear of talking to existing clients about increasing your prices, and the worry about it, and how difficult we make that situation for ourselves quite often, because we make so many assumptions about the other person and how they see us. So I wanted to point us to several things, first of all. Well, actually, I've got quite a few resources today that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to point you to. And what I'll do is at the end, I'll email you a list of those that I've pointed to, but so that you're aware. But I thought, first of all, obviously it all starts with you. It starts with your confidence. It starts with how you feel when you walk into that meeting, because if you're not feeling comfortable, if you're not feeling strong in yourself, you immediately put yourself at a disadvantage no matter what. And that happens often with like long-term clients, or possibly clients that are perhaps your biggest clients, and therefore you're worried about putting that relationship at risk in some way. Maybe by talking about prices, or maybe talking about other services, or maybe actually charging them for things that you're doing that you haven't been clear about. And so that there's, to me, the biggest thing, first of all, is your own personal power. It's how you feel when you go into those meetings. And so what I wanted to do was share with you, first of all, some things to make you think about yourself first. Okay. So I'm just going to, in a minute, share my screen and just share some of the resources that are in System Builder. I've downloaded them to make it easier for us to look at them, but let's have a look at that anyway. Okay, so if I just share my screen, the first thing that I want to look at is called the safety score tracker, and it's about how you feel, in far as how safe do you feel in your own situation, because we know right from Maslow's hierarchical of needs triangle that actually security, safety is the most important thing that we have. And as accountants, we like to feel in control, and we need to know that we have that we feel secure in lots of ways. And a while ago, Andrew Miller, who is one of our practice growth experts, he identified 7 key measures of safety, and it's a great tool, like it says here, to review every 6 months. Okay. And so just thinking about how you feel at the moment, okay, looking at these 7 different sections. So thinking about your business finances, because obviously money is one of the things that gives us security. So now, out of a score out of 10, so where 10 is good and 1 is awful, so this explains how to do it. Okay, how are you feeling about your business finances? Okay, so thinking about, you know, is it what you predicted? But also, where do you want it to be? What will it be? And you set the timeline for this. So if you say, do you know what, in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, try not to make it more than 12 months. You know, what do you want it to be? And what impact these scores are going to have on you? Because it's important that you stop. This is about thinking about how important things are. So if you believe that your business finances are not good, maybe you're feeling like you're not being able to, you've not got the income or the profits you want, maybe you've not got the cash flow that you want, you know, how important, what impact would it be if we could make you feel better about that score? So at the moment, if you think that that's maybe a 4, and if we said, right, okay, what if in 6 months we could make that an 8, so double it, what impact would that have for you to feel that your business was financially secure, or the finances are okay? And think about that, because this is again about helping you drive yourself, be able to feel confident in what you're doing. The second one is personal finances. So, you know, actually, how are you doing with your own money? Are you taking enough money out of the business? And, you know, are you happy with that or not happy with that? And if you're not happy with that, what is the impact that that's having for you? Okay, what is it? And not only that, but, you know, it could be impacting lots of other people because of the fact that you're worried about money. So thinking about that, you know, is that impacting your family, your children? Is that impacting, you know, other things like you can't have a holiday this year, or, you know, whatever it is, thinking about that, so that we can then, when we come back to this, in 6 months time, 3 months, 6 months time, you can go, okay, I've focused on that and I've made this better. And actually give yourself the whole point of this is to come back and go, yes, I have made a change. Something has happened. So when we start this, obviously, it can feel like we're not as great as we want to be, but it helps us be a bit more focused. Thinking about your physical health, I have to say that in lockdown, I have put on a huge amount of weight, ridiculous amount of weight. And partly of that is because I am just sat in this room at this desk all the time. And sometimes I even forget to go up and get myself a drink. But, I don't get out and walk. I don't do stuff. I'm not making an effort to do stuff. I do some yoga. That's because I actually have somebody who holds me accountable to do that. But my physical health is not as great as I want it to be. How important is that? What difference would it make for me if that was a higher? What difference would it make to other people? It'd be nice to be able to feel like, whatever it is, you can run up that hill without feeling like you're dying at the end of it, or you can, whatever it is. Okay. So again, this is about what is important to you. And the mental health, because again, I think for a lot of us, it's been a stressful 2 years. We've been really, really pushed. So again, thinking about this, and again, look at some of these keys. What's happened to you? Have you had stress, anxiety, sleepless nights? With your physical health, have you ended up being on medication, painkillers, smoking more, or not exercising, or drinking more? Whatever it is, think about that and what needs to change on those. And then when we talk about environment, we're talking about your home safety, but also, it's about where you work, where you live. Obviously, the threat of the virus, even though we're all having our double jabs, you're still hearing of people getting COVID, having had double jabs, and you worry about things. And that, the whole environment, what is it at the moment? What is your fear factor about that at the moment? And what do you want it to be in 6 months' time? And how would that difference make you feel? And what could we do about that is the next step, obviously. The next one is your personal support network. So who do you have around you that makes you feel safe? Who are the people that help you? Okay. Who makes you feel better? Who makes you think, you feel like, yeah, I can go to them with anything. I can talk to them about anything. And that could be, as it says here, family, friends, counselors. It could be anybody. Okay, it could be your practice growth expert. I don't know how much work they're doing supporting you personally as well. And then business. So who do you have on a business level? And I'm hoping your practice growth expert is in here. Who have you got supporting you? Mentors, groups, different Facebook groups that you belong to, people that are around, so on. Anything that you think is giving you that support. And then you give yourself a total score. So all these scores now out of 10, what will it be in 3 months, 6 months' time? What are you wanting it to be? And therefore, looking at those differences, what impact would it have if we focused on this? And for a lot of us, I think, because we have had in lockdown so little true interaction with people, it's been on Zoom, it's been on email, phone, whatever. Because we've been sat at our desk, often at home, not in our normal environment, our work environment, I think that's damaged quite a lot of people's confidence about themselves and what they do. And they've been work, that hamster on the treadmill going round and round and round and round and round, and no time to stop. And again, I think there's also been an issue that perhaps we've not felt as appreciated for all this extra work that we've done, that we should. It's nice to get the odd person, but you think there's some people there you've worked really hard for, you've supported them in all different ways. They may not know that, of course, but you have done. And sometimes it's more about actually communication. So we could find ways of getting better support. Having done this, again, it's up to you to decide how you want to share this, but also, so do you want to share it with your significant other? Do you want to share it with your practice growth expert? Do you just want to keep it to yourself, but make sure that you focus? And in particular, I really want you to focus on yourself. I think this physical, mental health and environment are critical for, you feeling better about yourself. Making time, no matter, I know we're all working and we're all saying, oh, I'm too tired. I haven't got time for this. Physically making the time to just do something, even if it's 20 minutes of something, you know, that Pomodoro technique where you set yourself 20 minutes and I'm just going to do 20 minutes of this. I was mentioning to a member this morning that I've just signed up for a couple of apps. One's called Balance and one's called I Am. And it's really simple. The Balance one just reminds me at set times of the day just to take 5 minutes out. And they have these little 5-minute meditations that you can go and sit and do quietly that just sort of resettle you. And the I Am one just sends me really great affirmations during the day. And they just pop up randomly on my phone. I don't have sound on my phone, so it doesn't beep. It just flickers into my eye line. And again, that's really nice to just keep me going with some of my mental health when I'm stuck in this little office all the time. But physically, again, you know, get yourself accountable to somebody, like I said, with my yoga, find something and make sure your environment's nice. At the moment, as you've spotted, I've blurred my background. That's because my daughter's half my daughter's stuff is in this study at the moment because she's been resorting her bedroom out. So I don't want you to see all that rubbish. But I'm planning then to clear it all out and have a nice, clean, safe workspace again. I think I'd probably fail every health and safety rule in the book today, to be quite honest, in my office. But thinking about that is really, really important because having those things around you makes you feel better. If you haven't tapped into the wellness section on the hub, please do. Kerry has put some absolutely amazing stuff in there, and she's also doing some amazing stuff outside of AVN to support people with their mental and physical health, which again you can tap into. So that would be really great. So this is one way of just helping you just step outside of everything and just give yourself some focus and work out what you need to focus on at the moment. Okay. And if it's everything, fine. Work out, you know, what little steps, little tiny things you can do each day that you can then monitor. And again, every day record those down. I know some people talk about journaling, and I'm not great at journaling. But what I have started to do is I just have a little pad, and in it I write all the extra things I did today that wasn't on my plan. And then I make a note of, you know, how did that help somebody? What difference did that make to somebody? Because that's what's important to me. So, you know, again, thinking about that. So just as a resource, that might be something that you want to think about. The other one that, again, we created, excuse me, was the goal review form. Okay, very similar. Okay, so looking at, you know, but in this case, rather than looking forward, looking back. So maybe this is something you could look at and just go, okay, you know, I've got a plan, but I feel like I'm in such a weak spot now. And sometimes you just need to remind yourself that you've been doing some stuff that's been really good. So many of you have been doing some amazing things at home, have been doing some amazing things, you know, during lockdown and coming out of lockdown, where you've helped, you know, things within the home. You've managed to, you know, I know it's not at the moment homeschooling, but a lot of us had to do homeschooling, but some people, you know, you still got care for your family. You've been helping juggle other things, maybe helping run online clubs for people or whatever it is. You've been doing loads of stuff, and you've perhaps done some really nice stuff at home, like you've, you know, managed to get your garden to look nice, or, you know, look at the things that you've done and how you've achieved it. For a lot of people, actually, their personal finances did quite well during lockdown because we couldn't go out and spend a lot of money. And so, again, thinking about what have you done with that money? How much money have you saved by not having takeaways twice a week? You know, might be back there at the moment, so you might need to focus on that. But, you know, what did you do? Looking at your business, you know, what did you do with how much? You did masses of stuff helping other people. And so many of you, through doing the AVN roadmaps, have looked and really had some clarity about where you want to go, who you want to work with, the type of work you want to do, all those sorts of things. You know, how have you helped your team if you've got one? What sorts of things have you done to support them? Again, there's been a lot of people still working from home. You're being very flexible with your team. You're supporting them in lots of ways. I know a lot of people who have you know, sent their team little thank yous or just kept them going, you know, motivated them. And then the other people around me, what else have I done? So again, I noticed that during lockdown, a lot of people were helping out their neighbors. They were supporting the elderly. They were doing little things. Yesterday, again, it's a silly thing, but we order our bird food from one of my daughter's friends' parents. They during lockdown, they set up a little business doing bird food. And they were telling me that, you know, one of the things that they love is actually, one of their things is they personally deliver the bird food. And for a lot of the elderly, they'll go and put it in the bin, you know, the food bin that they have with the scoop, or they might take it round the back into the shed, or they might, you know, do something. And actually they've got a connection with people who've been helping out. And like I said, that's a silly thing, but you know what? When she said, what I've done is I've created a business for me. It earns a little bit of money, but what it does do is, I know it helps the older people in the village. It supports them. It gives somebody to check in with, you know, at least once a month. I go and help them. They feed the birds. That brings more birds into the area. It improves the nature. You know, it's a much better experience for everybody. There are a lot of people whose all they've been doing, particularly elderly, is sitting and looking out of their windows, watching the birds. And so she's got, and then there's lots of things that people have done, you know, like I've been doing Zoom mass recordings for church on a Sunday morning to help other people experience mass when they've been in lockdown. There are other things that people have been doing, I know that. And then, you know, what have you done actually within the operational side of your business? I'm sure that you've had a chance to think about technology you've taken on board, working from home. What other things have you been doing? Things like that. And again, what personal growth might have you done? So there's lots of things that when you look back over the last 12 months, you've probably been doing. And if you can't think of anything, ask other people around you, what do you think I've been doing in these things? Because they spot things. They go, well, you know what? I know you did this. You know, I know that you actually went online, you know, personal growth, you went online and you did a presentation, or you spoke at masterclass, or you did something, you know, there are lots of things in there. So all about making you feel better about yourself, you know, having a look at, so there's again, lots of ideas in here about helping you to think about this. So we're good at setting goals, but we're not good at looking back. So let's look back and see that actually we are achieving stuff as much as perhaps today we don't feel like it. You know, we may feel overwhelmed, we may have too much stuff on or whatever. Actually, we have achieved stuff in the last 12 months. And also, what can we do to make sure that we continue to feel safe moving forward? So they're the things that I wanted to push to you. Now, the other thing is that I have been working and I have revisited the Positioning Workbook. Hoping you can all see this. Okay. Now, I know some of you have done it, some of you haven't. It's one of those workbooks that actually you could go back to and review it. But what I want to look at, I mean, there's a whole section here about obviously your ideal client and who you want to work with and stuff. But the bit I want to look at is actually about you. So if I just scroll up, I can find the place. There we go. Okay. So the reason that sometimes we feel less confident, either in ourselves or in what we want to talk about with our clients, is because we don't get this bit right. We don't get the balance between how we fit our own value, our passion for what's important to us, and getting paid for it. If we don't get paid enough, okay, then we start feeling that it's unrewarding. You know, if we're not doing something we love, then it becomes unfulfilling. We feel like, oh, we're just getting on with it. And that's why I always say to you that when you're thinking about planning what you're putting in your packages for Time's Up, just put in the things you want to do. You know, if other people, if you want, obviously, if you need to offer other things, great, but get them to pay for them separately and understand that there is a cost to that rather than bundling them in. And obviously, if you're not doing something that fits your values, it feels unethical. So you need to look at that, okay? You need to make sure you are getting the rewards you want, and that's emotionally and financially, okay? Making sure you get that. So if you haven't got this workbook, please ask your practice growth expert to release it into Coach Accountable for you. because it's really a good point to go through this section again, if nothing else, from page 25. You know, thinking about why did we go into business? What did we want to achieve? What was it that we wanted? Was it financial security? Was it flexibility? Was it that choice that Shane talks about? You know, making sure that you do that. It mentions here that perhaps it's a good time to go back to the 24-hour action plan in System Builder and look at your goals and do them with your significant other. Because again, if you're the breadwinner, so to speak, in the family, you may put an awful lot of pressure on yourself to do things because you think that's what's needed, but it may not be needed once you talk to your partner and they explain what they need out of life from you. So having a conversation is important. And then I want to start thinking about what are your value? What is your value? What do you bring? So when you stand there in front of a client, okay, doesn't matter how long you've known them, I want you to think about what is my value? Why am I important? Why do they need me? Okay, not, you know, it's not, don't go with the attitude that I need them because I need that turnover. Why do they need me? This is the important thing, okay? So here's some obvious things, your qualifications, okay? So what are your qualifications? How proud of them are you? You know, you think about the effort it took to get those qualifications. Think about the commitment you made in order to do that and to maintain them. You know, think about how dogged and strong and how focused you've been to get those qualifications. You know, these are really great skills to have in somebody who's going to give advice to somebody else. You know, have you had any awards, you know, for the practice or for you? Now, you may not have done, or you may have had some, you know, even if it's not awards, maybe if you've been recognized in some way, that's lovely, isn't it? Think about that. Awards are obviously a good way of shortcutting that positioning because people have that trust connection. And further down in this workbook, I've gone into Cialdini's 7 points of influence, and trust is such a big thing. So, you know, that's sometimes what awards do, but so does your qualification. And you know what I'm going to say, if you haven't entered the AVN Awards, please do so. You've got until midnight on Friday, because if you don't enter, you can't win. So try it. Have you got any specialized knowledge in specific areas? So I know a lot of you, you know, you've worked with different types of businesses. You may understand, I don't know, you might understand the way pubs work really, really well. You might understand tax planning really well. You might be really great at restructuring. You might be really good at actually getting people to do stuff. You know, you might be really good at just getting things organized for people, you know, and making sure that things happen. What is your specialist knowledge? What are the key things that actually set you apart? You know, if you remember Libby from Iceberg, one of her things is, you know, she says, I'll say it as it is. I'm tough love for you. And this is because if you want to do something, I will help you make it happen. Not everybody's good at that, but she is. So what other things have you got? You know, when we talk about specialist knowledge, it might not be technical. There might be some technical, but what other things? Then thinking about what do you love doing? What are the things that you enjoy researching? When those things pop up, that email comes up about X, Y, or Z, which are the ones that you click through and start looking at and go to the website and have a read and have a think about? And, you know, what is it that you sort of drill down to when you go onto the internet and look at? What do you enjoy researching? It's not what you have to, but what do you enjoy? And some people love researching tax strategies. Some people love researching software. Some people love researching other things. So think about that. Then describe your 3 proudest moments professionally and why they're meaningful to you. So that could have been when you got your qualification. It could have been, you know, when you did something, when you got a specific thank you from a client or something else happened. There are lots of things that happen in our business life, in our professional life, that we can be really proud of. Okay. So one of mine is that I actually stood on stage and did a presentation to the whole of the AVN membership. Now you think, well, Emma talks all the time, you know, that's why my voice is croaky. You know, surely that was easy. It's very different talking to people one-on-one or one in a group like this on Zoom than when you are on a stage and your knees are shaking and you don't think you're going to be able to do it because you feel so sick and your head's swimming and, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Actually, for me, that actual going on stage, and the other thing, wearing a mic, so being able to hear my voice coming back, that was a big thing for me. I was very frightened about that. I tested, and because I was frightened, I went and actually tried it out somewhere else. In my case, I went to church and I said to the priest, can I come in on can I stay after mass? And when everybody's gone, would you mind if I tried the tie mic and if I talk out and I hear how the speakers bounce back at me, and I, you know, so that I could get over the mic bit, because that frightened me. And I did lots of preparation to help me be able to walk up the steps and get on the stage. So again, there might be things like that. It might be something, you know, very different. I mean, some of my other things is when people have had that light bulb moment, you know, when you've been talking to somebody and you just see it go ping and they get it. And that's, to me, that's one of my proudest moments as well. And then think about your proudest moments personally and why you're proud of them. What is it? Why is this important? Why are they meaningful to you? Okay. And maybe what are the 3 things you're best known for? So, you know, again, in work and out of work, maybe they think about that. And what do you do that you believe is valuable? Okay. And then how would others describe your value? So again, this is about us. Often we just go, oh yeah, we just do that. That's accountants. We just do that. No, you just completely change somebody's life by helping them. You know, if you've ever seen any of those fabulous videos from the Inspiring Accountants conference that we did, where we got actual business owners to come with their AV accountant and talk about what a difference their accountant had made to their lives. It wasn't like they'd done something phenomenal. Most of them had just like managed to deal with HMRC, sort out a tax issue, help with some cash flow planning, all those sort of things. And that they made such a difference as value. If you've not got it, please ask us for a copy of the book, because we've got a book called The World's Most Inspiring Accountants. And that's got some great stories in. Again, not doing anything really outside the norm, just the value that they've brought. So think about that. And what do you do for clients that other accountants don't do? And again, don't assume that every accountant does what you do, because I can tell you they don't. What challenges in your practice have you faced and how have you overcome them? So, you know, we looked back, we just did that goal review back. What other challenges have we done? How many articles or blogs or things have you written recently? And what have been the themes? So again, these are things that excite you as you'll write a blog about them. And then, you know, do you have a book? Are you also a book? Again, you can be have an AVN author. Do you have a unique way of doing something? Okay, so again, that's something that's just, you know, how do you process something? How do you do something? You know, how much, again, don't assume that everybody does things the same way as you. And it's the way that it affects the client. And again, how much tax have you saved your clients through tax planning this year? Do you even record that? Okay. Alan Woods, who is one of our PGEs, he used to have a rolling number on the bottom of his website that got updated every time they saved clients tax through tax planning. This year we have saved this much tax, we have this. Okay. And then other things, and I've put in here things you do outside of work. So thinking about it, you know, so many of you do things outside of work, whether that's help run children's social groups, whether that's, you know, helping run, I don't know, networking groups, whether, you know, some of you are actually managing and running BNIs and things like that. Some of you I know are brownie leaders. Some of you I know do, you know, other things, football coaching, all sorts of things. And they are skills, okay? Because if you can manage, excuse me, if you can manage 22 9-year-old boys and get them to get together and play football or to do taekwondo or whatever else it is you do, and manage that linking out. What skills have you got there? What value do you bring? What strength is in you? And that's why I think you need to remember that there are things that you do outside of work that can be of great value. So when you are thinking about this, go through all of that. And this is only, and then it goes on to about your why. So we've talked about this before. So again, some little things you can think about. What is it that makes it as important to you? Because this is, why do we do this? What do we love to do? Why do we do it? What are we getting out of it? Okay. So if you haven't done this, please have a look at this. Okay. It's really, really important to have a look at this and perhaps do it for yourself, because before you go into that meeting with your client, what I want you to do is just have value yourself. Just know that you're doing a really good job. Okay. And then the other thing, a little thing, again, let me just share my screen again. I just want to bring up this, which is actually it's a presentation I do on profile analysis, but I just wanted to just show you this slide. So we've talked before about profiles, you know, and how people are different, and often we talk to you about your team, about yourself, so that you can have better communication between each other, because the different profiles, they have different things that are there that drive them, okay, and the different ways of being communicated with. So most of you will probably be a combination of the S&C, which are, you know, the detailed, methodical, perfectionist, conscientious, process-driven, with probably a chunk of you also having some of that D&I, so being really driving, pushing things forward. Now, like, as you can see from this, that even if you are classed as a C compliant, that doesn't mean you can't be persistent and stubborn and firm and drive a business forward, okay? It's not like one's a better business owner than another. But the reason that I've put these words up is because I want you to think about your client, okay? And when you think about the client, think about, you know, what sort of person are they? Do they come across as quite forceful? Are they like very no nonsense, impatient, low tolerance, rant and rave a bit, you know? Or you know, there's somebody who's really chatty and talks and energetic, optimistic. Are they somebody who's quite steady and a bit, you know, slow to think things through, doesn't like risk, you know, very modest? Are they somebody who actually is really careful and systematic and, you know, needs everything to be perfect, process driven? Understanding that, okay, what doesn't, I'm not talking about you, you'll see yourself in these as well, okay, but if you think about your client, okay, then you can start thinking about what is the best way to give those people information, because when you go meet them, all these different people like information in different ways, okay? So if we just think about the D's, you know, they're always coming up with new ideas, they want instant solutions, they're driving for results. The I's, they like to talk about things, they like to cultivate relationships, they like to sort of do the salesy type stuff. The S is more about concentrating on the job, perhaps they're into skills. There may have been somebody who, we call them the technicians, aren't they? They've done something and they've come into a business without having really the drive to run a business, but they just wanted to be out of a job and have their own control. And again, the high C is wanting to be in control of their circumstances, wanting to know what they're doing. But when you understand that, and of course, nobody's exactly one or the other, it helps you when you prepare for that meeting. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, by the way, Joanne did an absolutely fabulous session on this, which is on the hub about profiles. Just an amazing one about that, much more detailed than this. But if you think about it, if you've got somebody who, when you go, is very short-tempered, you know, dum, they just want to know what they need to know. They just want the facts. Now, as a a high C that I am, high S, high C, my natural instinct is to go in and talk about everything behind what I want to talk about. I might go, oh, and I will talk about the reason why I want to talk about this and the reason why I want to talk about that. And these are my ideas and whatever. And they don't care. What they want to know is, what is the outcome? So they want to know if you, so you can say, actually, I've been looking at your business and I can make you more profitable. Tell me how. Right. What I want to talk to you about is actually having a one-page plan where we can track some key performance indicators so that you have real-time information, you can make decisions, you'll have everything you need to know on a single sheet of A4 to make decisions. How does that sound? Okay, they're all okay. Yeah, that's one. They want just bullet points, okay? And to them, it's important that the results, what are the outcomes, the results? So if you're going to somebody like that and you want to talk about price, you need to say, look, this is what you're going to get. Not in as in, and what a difference it's going to make to their business profit. So not features, benefits. What do I need to know? What you need to know is that if you have my 5-star package, I will ensure that you'll have some business growth because I will be showing you how you compare to your competitors. I will be putting in some key performance indicators. We will be having monthly meetings to talk about these things. Yes, Dawn, I will show you the IST slides in a minute. Thank you. I will do. Yeah. So this is really important to think about that. So if we go back to these people, okay, these driving ones, you know, it's important that we look at them. So if you think about the eyes here, look, they like working with people. They like making a favorable impression. You know, those people will have a really nice handshake, maybe even sort of touch your arm when they give you a handshake, the big smiling. They'll be wanting you to talk about stuff. They'll ask you how you've been doing, those sorts of things. They'll chat with you. And I'll come back to the others in a minute. So the eyes, they need to have the idea. They need to know, what is the idea? What is the trying to, so, you know, these are about, let's think about, what is it you want out of your business, Mr. Business Owner, John Smith, or whatever it is. What is it that you want? What are your goals? Right. Let's plan how we can support you with that. Okay. And let's come up with some written outcomes. Okay. They are not good at actually completing something. Often they're not great completer finishers. So having you there as somebody who will give them that information, who will complete and finish stuff, that will go, okay, this is the idea, this is the goal, I will give you everything you need to make decisions. Okay, that's the important thing. They will, that's what gets them. The high S's, okay, obviously they are skills people, and they're quite, like I said, they're very persistent, they like consistency, they like passionate about providing a service, and they do like a lot of information. Okay, but when you look at them and you give them information, you need to give it in a gentle sort of discussion. So you need to show an interest in them as people. You need to bring out, what is it that they want? Draw out, and it's slow. It's not like, oh yeah, I know. They will think about that. You might think about, okay, what do you really want? And it says here, don't force them to make a quick response. They will want to think about things. Okay, they will want to take time. Help them by asking them specific questions, you know, and listen. They don't like being interrupted. So listen to what they say. Now, for some people, again, those of us that, you know, want to just get on with stuff sometimes, we have to just go in with that attitude. I'm slowing myself down today. I'm just going to be calm. I'm just going to listen. I will ask these questions that you have ready prepared, and I will listen, and I will help them. Okay. And then what they like then is logically understanding. So again, I can help you grow your business. Actually, the way we're going to do it is we're going to look at what your competitors do, and we're going to try and emulate that. We're going to look at what key numbers are driving your business. So what is it that we have to look at and focus your attention on? We're going to have, you know, it's going to be a logical process. And every time we do something, you know, we'll make sure that we've got it all written down and it's managed. And then finally, the C's, okay, so they're detail people. They like a lot of analysis. They like actually following things to avoid error. It says error, trouble, or danger. They do not like risk. Okay, so you have to be, you know, but they're really good at being diplomatic with people. So sometimes you don't know that. Excuse me. So, oh, I've lost my slides. There we go. Going the wrong way. There we go. So they like all the information. Okay. So you need to sit there and explain everything because they need to know all the detail. I'm one of these people, I like lots of detail. The why. Why are we doing this? What do you need as the outcomes? When do I need to do it by? So if you say to them, right, what we'll do is we'll meet every month. In fact, let's book it. We'll do the second week of every month and we'll talk about these key numbers. You can be really straightforward, okay? But you need to check with them all the time that they understand. So, you know, getting them to sort of say, okay, so I've just talked about how do you want that to be seen? How would you like that to be given to you? What information would you like? Have a clear picture of that. So, you know, you might show them a one-page plan and say, is this something that actually would give you the information you need? Can you see how clearly this sets stuff out? Okay. So you can be really, really ready and informed for those people. And that's really what I wanted to say, is that you've got an opportunity there for actually thinking about being prepared. So you're not frightened. You've gone in, you know your value, you know your worth, you know what you can bring. Okay. That value has a financial worth. If you were paying somebody else to do this job, there is a financial worth. Please do not undervalue your financial worth as well as your personal worth. Okay. And then what you need to do is think about what else you can do to make sure that you're prepared. So think about the client, think about the type of person they are. Okay. Be prepared to deliver what you want to say to them in a way that will be best get their attention. Okay. Because that's what we're trying to do. None of us like confrontation. Okay. None of us want to do that. And so we're preparing ourselves to try and make it easy. Okay. That's all we're doing. Make it easy for them to listen to us, for us to talk to them. Okay. And then once you're happy with that, the next thing to look at is the heart selling process. If you haven't listened to heart selling, okay, there is an audio of the webinar we did on heart selling. Absolutely amazing. Just about the fact that we are selling from our heart. We're not selling to try and convince somebody to have or do something that they don't want or don't need. You know, we are not pushy. What we're trying to do is sell from the heart. And one of the interesting things about this is that although this system is built around prospects, and it has a whole load of stuff about how to, you know, have an agenda in place, this whole system here, look. So if you look at the system, excuse me, it's got, you know, guidance notes, it's got a business needs analysis. This is a great resource, by the way, which is a lovely one where you can look at, you know, what are the key frustrations? Why is it important? How would overcoming it help? Is this really important to them? Then what priority is it, and what we can do to help? So this is a nice resource to use that you might want to look at as well. And agendas, okay, and even how to deal with objections. So this is prospects, okay, but it also has a series of things that you can ask existing customers. So there's a really, oh, excuse me, just timed out on me there. So basically it has some really great questions that you can use when you are talking to your existing clients. Again, sometimes you might feel, well, I've never done this. I've never had this experience where I've asked these sort of questions. Okay. But what you can say to me is, look, you know, and you can use AVN as an excuse if you want, you know, if not long been members, you know, I have been undergoing some additional development stuff, and I've joined a group of other accountants, and we've got a whole suite of resources, tried and tested ideas and resources that we know help businesses grow. And I wondered whether you'd be interested in finding out more, because from where I'm looking, you know, I think we can really help you. But there might be a few things, you know, if you've just got 20 minutes, perhaps 15 minutes, cup of tea, can we just have a chat about some of these things? And to you might even go right back to some of these basic ones. What's really important to you in using your accountant? You might say, well, I just want to pay the least tax. Is that really true? Do you realize that actually we're not here just to do tax, we can actually help grow your business? What difference would it make if your turnover, if your profits, could be, I don't know, 20% more? I have a little tool that I could show you in our next meeting that just gives you some ideas about that. Or I could send you a little report about it, and you could send the profit review document, couldn't you? What is important? Somebody that you can trust, somebody that is accurate, that gets things right, somebody will deal with HMRC so you don't have to, somebody who makes sure that all the payroll's done so that your employees don't get cross. What do you expect? So if money was no object and you had a magic wand, what would you want from us? What would be on your wish list? What sort of support would you like? So there's all sorts of things. You don't have to ask them all. Okay. Some really nice one. What makes you most proud of your business? What makes running this business difficult? Again, all you're doing is getting ideas and information for them to think a little different about. And this is a really great question to ask, actually. What makes you most proud about your business? And what makes running this business difficult? They're really good questions. Even if you've been using them, been working with them for a long time. I was thinking the other day, what makes you proud about your business? What's the thing you're most proud about your business? And actually, what makes running this business difficult? Let them think. Just be quiet then, let them have a think. If you could make any improvement, what would it be and why? You start getting, things. Obviously, we all know that one. What is it about your business that keeps you awake at night? And what are the 3 biggest challenges? Lots of things like that. And then basically some personal stuff. So once you've started to, it's easier to talk about their business first and then go to them personally. So, what is it you want to achieve? What's your goals? What legacies do you want to leave? Do you have a plan for that? Or are you just drifting along? Would it be helpful for us to create a plan to make sure that happened? So would it be helpful? Or how helpful would it be if? How important to you is it? Is that enough to make it worth your while taking the next step with us? How would getting or solving that problem make you feel? So there's loads of stuff in here that is already there that gives you that sort of, even if you pick, I used to have 5, okay? I used to have 5 questions that I was happy to ask anybody, even existing clients, out of all of them. So, at least one from each that I could think, okay, that I've got that up my sleeve, so to speak. But it's amazing that actually, even not talking about the accountants, but, what are you really proud of about your business? And they light up and they tell you stuff. And again, for them, sometimes they've not felt very proud. They're tired, they're worn out, making them think, do those things we talked about at the very beginning, make them feel better about how they are and what they've managed to achieve. It's a good thing. They are, like some of you, on their own in their business. They feel lonely. They need somebody to talk to. And that's where you could start getting that connection. And once you've made those connections, starting to talk about fees is less of a challenge, because you start to make a connection. You can't start to say, look, we've got ideas and things that can help you. One of the things we've done, and one of the things we'll talk to you about, is your pricing. And we've looked at our pricing, and actually it wasn't fair. So we've come up with a proper pricing strategy, and it's in a piece of software so that everybody sees the same pricing strategy, no matter who they are. I'd like to show it to you. Can we sit down, or can we book a time to sit down and go through it? And then you can sit down with Time's Up or whatever software you use and go through it all. So to me, that's really, really important. Any questions? Because I've been talking like mad. So many things, aren't there, in System Builder? This is the thing that just inspires me all the time that I go in there. Okay. If there are no questions, I'm just going to stop my share for a second, because I want to talk about a couple of other things that I want you to think about. Okay. Excuse me. I am concerned that a lot of us are tired. Okay. And in that Maslow hierarchy of needs, we are nowhere near the top. We are still there at the bottom. about security and safety and our personal health and everything else. And I was speaking to a member this morning, and she had a great phrase for it. And what she said was, at the end of the working day, she goes home, she's going to the office, she goes home, and she goes up to her room, her bedroom, or a study at home, or whatever she is, and she has an hour that she calls her decompression hour. And I think for quite a lot of us, we used to have that traveling to and from work as our decompression time. And those of us that are now working from home more and more, we don't make time for that. And in that decompression hour, you can do anything. You know, you can do scream and shout and punch the walls if you want, or you can, you know, do some exercise, or you can do some meditation, you can read a book, you can listen to the archers. I don't care what it is, okay? You need an hour that is yours just to come down and come away from work, so that when you're at home, you are being the best person you can be at home with your family, okay? Because often what happens is we still bring that baggage back with us unintentionally, and we try really, really hard not to, but it comes back, that tiredness, that stress, that whatever. And it's often hard to talk to our significant others about these things. They may or may not understand, they may or may not be interested. So have an hour, or like I said, if you can't make it an hour, you know, 30 minutes max is, you know, so what was your traveling time to and from work, that you can go and have a walk, you can have some downtime, but make sure you have that decompression time, because it's really, really helpful. And it's really, really important to you. Yesterday, I was on a business support group. I go once a month, businesses from doing in all sorts of areas, and we talk about a lot of different things. And one of the people there mentioned something that I'd never heard of. I don't know if you've all heard of it. It's called the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I don't know if any of you have seen it. And basically, there are 4 things that it says that you need to live by. And I thought these are quite relevant from what I've been talking about. Christy, everything I've shown you today, apart from what I'm talking about now, is in System Builder. Absolutely everything that I've talked about is in System Builder, apart from the Positioning Workbook, which is in Coach Accountable. Okay. So the 4 agreements is, first of all, the first one is be impeccable with your word. And what that means is speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself. So putting yourself down. You know, sometimes, you know, you ever had that where you tell yourself off, or you make yourself feel bad about something? Oh, I'm so stupid, I'm brain dead, and whatever. Stop doing that, and use the power of your words, you know, to give people direction and truth. And I'm thinking that when we're doing that, what that does, it says, you know, can you imagine that you don't have confrontation because you're being honest with your words, you're being fair, you know, that you don't get unwanted criticism or gossip or blame or twisted truths, because you are living by this integrity of your word. That's not the word you used, was it? Impeccable words, you know, to stop having that self-criticism, that self-doubt, that self-punishment, that guilt, that regret, the feelings of inadequacy, because you tell yourself, I am not going to let myself do this. And therefore you can be much more appreciative of yourself. You can have better uplifting conversations. You can make better connections and have loyalty. The second agreement is don't take things personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you're immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Again, I am very guilty of this, that I take things very personally. And actually it's about, you know, stop doing that. It's not about you, it's about them. Whatever happens, it's about their reality. So when you go into having these conversations, don't make assumptions. And when they asking questions, it's not personal. When they are questioning you, it's not personal. It's their reality. We need to give them the information to understand that reality. And that's great, because there's a whole sort of background with that. If you don't take things personally, then you can't be hurt by those words. You don't fear how people react, because it's not about you, it's about them. You don't need that approval, that validation that I think we all quite often looking for. And so we have more freedom to focus on the service that we're giving people and doing a positive impact, because we're not burdened by their judgment. We're thinking about, there we go, the book, fantastic. Yeah, I will share, there's a great summary of it that I found as well. So really, really great, important. The third one is don't make assumptions, which I've already talked about. So find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstanding, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Okay. So again, getting understanding, being sure that we, excuse me, that we look at that, we understand that, and getting them to say, yeah, we understand what you mean, because that assumption that we make, and a lot of people have said to me, I can't go and talk to my existing clients about fees because, and they assume that they're going to get cross with you. They assume that, oh, I've always charged by the hour, they're not going to like fixed fees. Why wouldn't they? Look at that. What are the assumptions? So there's no more waiting for people to give you what you want, because you've asked for it directly, so they know what you need. There's no more misinterpreting things. There's no more disrespect, because you've been very clear. So that clarity, that peace, that focus brings so much more engagement and enjoyment. And the fourth one is always do your best. And your best is going to change from moment to moment. It'll be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. So stop thinking that you're letting yourself down or letting other people down, feeling regret, feeling frustration. You cannot be perfect to everybody. Okay, that is not, don't beat yourself up if you're ill or you're overwhelmed or you're depleted. Give yourself that time out, and don't make excuses for things. You can do better than this. You've all got goals. I know you sit down with your practice consultants, you've come up with some fabulous goals. You can do that. By doing the best, you can achieve those, and have that self-compassion, look after yourself, but empowered by it all, because you're always doing your best. That's great. So it was interesting that came up in a session that I was with, like I said, with other people yesterday, and we didn't talk about that. Actually, it just really was a throwaway comment by somebody saying, this is a great way to try and live your life. But having read it last night, I was like, yeah, this fits with me about what we're talking about, the fear of talking to other people. Don't, think about that. Don't take it personally. Don't make assumptions. Do your best. Okay. Well, I've overrun, and I'd like to thank you all today. It's been a bit of a different session today, but I hope you can see there's lots and lots of support for you. And please use your practice growth expert as much as you can. I'm hoping this has been really helpful. As usual, this recording will be on YouTube tomorrow, ready for you to watch again if you want, or share with other people. But thank you very much, everybody. If you've got any questions, please shout. Otherwise, have a lovely day. You're most welcome.